Vice-Chancellor, ladies and gentlemen, it is customary for the university and its guests to gather as a body for the purpose of conferring academic awards on its graduates. This morning we've gathered in order that awards may be conferred on those who've satisfied the Council of the University that they have met the requirements for admission to awards undertaken within a variety of faculties. To members of a university, a ceremony for the conferring of awards is an important and happy occasion in the university year. To all of you, I extend a warm welcome. To graduands, I offer congratulations and best wishes. I'm very pleased to preside at this, my first Australian public graduation ceremony. This is the first time that the University of Newcastle has provided for graduands to receive their testamers at a ceremony in the second half of the year. This is a move to ensure that families and friends can participate fully in the celebration. The customary ceremonies are usually conducted in April and May. The mission of the university is, in part, to provide a wide range of teaching, research, scholarship and service at the highest levels of excellence and consistent with its aim of maintaining national and international reputation. In the short time that I've been Chancellor, I've been encouraged to see the effort the university is making to attain its mission and goals and to meet the needs of the students. The university has a commitment to the advancement and transmission of knowledge by the pursuit, recognition and the achievement of excellence in scholarship, research and teaching. This will be evidenced in the course of today's ceremony. Education today is about the acquisition of lifelong learning skills. I believe that the awards to be conferred upon our diplomates and graduates today constitute an exciting start to a lifetime of learning and an opportunity for each one to make a significant contribution to the well-being of the local, national, and for some, the international community. Lastly, I take this opportunity to remind those receiving their testamers today that as graduates and diplomates of the university, you automatically become members of Convocation. Thus, you join some 40,000 other graduates and have an opportunity through elected representatives to become involved in the governance of the university. Through Convocation, you will also be kept well informed of activities and developments at your university. I will now formally confer awards. Will all candidates for admission to degrees and other awards please stand? In the name of the Council and by my authority as Chancellor, I confer the awards specified in the programme on all those graduands and diplomates who are present today and in absentia on those unable to be present. You be seated. I now call on the Acting Dean of the Faculty of Arts and Social Science to commence the presentation of graduates.
Chancellor, I present to you graduates of the degree of Bachelor of Arts. Lawrence James Archer. Karina Gay Bisbee. Peter Carroll. Kim Laurel Charman. Anna Louise Davies. Sally Elise Ebert. Sean David Fardell. Ruth Mary Gard. Donna Cherie Gurman. Anne Marika Grivas. Nicole Marie Hayward. Alana Marie Hogan. Frances Elizabeth Jackson. Kristin Eleanor Matila. Shona Lee McCoy. Anthony Robert Miller. Joyce Avis Morley. Anne Marie Partridge. Alan Leslie Pascoe. Michelle Leanne Patterson. Patricia Mary Potter. Robert Leslie Price. Vanessa Joy Richardson. Louise Slavin. Aaron Edward Allen Steiger-Watt. Felicity Jane Thomas. Victoria Marie Thompson. Catherine Ann Trevethan. Cheryl Lynn Tweedy. Guy Christopher Verrills. Michelle Lee Biershauser. Elizabeth Ann Wilcox. Tathra Shea Witherow. Chancellor, I present to you a graduate of the degree of Bachelor of Arts, Psychology, Angeline Mary Lodge, with honours, Class 1. Chancellor, I present to you graduates of the degree of Bachelor of Social Science, Michelle Lee Cleggett. Chris Latso Fotef. Glenn Evan Walker. Mark Stephen Zaniol. Chancellor, I present to you a graduate of the degree of Bachelor of Social Science, Justice Studies, Darrell George Oakley. Chancellor, I present to you graduates of the degree of Bachelor of Social Science, Recreation and Tourism, Edward James Armitage. Matthew James Young. Chancellor, I present to you a graduate of the degree of Bachelor of Social Science Honours, Nisha Leanne Smith, Welfare Studies, Class 2, Division 1. Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of coursework graduates of the Faculty of Arts and Social Science.
I now call upon the Dean, Faculty of Economics and Commerce to present graduates and diplomates of the faculty.
Chancellor, I now present to you candidates who have been awarded the Diploma in Computing Studies. Jason Andrew Rossiter. Shane Malcolm Searle. Chancellor, I present to you graduates of the degree of Bachelor of Business. David Peter Burns. Victoria Ruth Cooper. Cassandra Jane Glow. Jennifer Nicole Hogan. Christopher Elton Jones. Carolyn Ann Pugsley. Christopher Rollick. Janelle Spearpoint. Henry Hin-chung Wong. Chancellor, I present to you graduates of the degree of Bachelor of Commerce. Tina Lee Boswell Walker. Wayne Stewart Bristow. Fiona Margaret Collins. Damien John Cooper. Simon John Croft. Wayne Scott Dickinson. Tasman Barry Dykes. Karen Ann Easy. Gary Leslie Henson. Audra Leah Howe. Helen Elizabeth Johnson. Matthew Brian Jones. David Peter Lemke. Shane McGee. Sharon Louise Marshall. Christiane Carey McComb. Gavin John McCormack. Helen Michael. David Andrew Mullard. Warwick Lee Overton. Darren Raymond Owen. Pangaja Wathani Paramsothi. Catherine Joy Pine. Stephen Philip Punch. Tanya Lee Riley. Andrew Craig Sakuriro. Mona Sood. Renee Elizabeth Tapp. Ricky James Wilmot. Christopher Dalton Weissman. Edwina Yee. Jimmy Yip. Chancellor, I present to you graduates of the degree of Bachelor of Economics, Tina Liane Bubataveski, Chris Katalowski. James William Clark. David Robert Harvey. Michael Patrick Hickey. Paul Allen Martin. Andrew Peter Plunkett. Penny Reeves. Jamie Simpson. Kylie Michelle Smith. Chancellor, I present to you graduates of the degree of Bachelor of Information Science, Nadine Joanne Chalmers. Warwick Gordon John Farrell. Sharon Marie Feenan. Justin David Sean Fitzgibbon. Sean Anthony O'Dowd. Chancellor, I present to you graduates of the degree of Bachelor of Law and Administration, Tristan Constantin Deveris. Prudence Ann Easdown. Catherine Joy Halliburton. Chancellor, I present to you graduates who have been awarded the Graduate Diploma in Management. Edna Sheridan. Christopher Paul Turnbull. Chancellor, I present to you a graduate who has been awarded the Graduate Diploma in Marketing, Brian Kevin O'Hare. Chancellor, I present to you graduates of the degree of Master of Business Administration, Jason Frank Norman Daniel. Raymond Scott Donald with merit. Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of the coursework graduates and diplomates of the Faculty of Economics and Commerce.
I now call on the Dean, Faculty of Education to present graduates and diplomates of the faculty.
Chancellor, I present to you graduates for the degree of Bachelor of Education, Early Childhood Special Education, Bede James Thorogood. Industrial Arts, Design and Technology, Cameron William Hall. Primary Special Education, Deborah Leonie Brooks. Chancellor, I present to you graduates of the degree of Bachelor of Educational Studies, Pauline Osborne, Neil Strang, Chancellor, I present to you a graduate who has been awarded the Graduate Diploma in Educational Studies, Special Education, Glenys Ruth Daly. Chancellor, I present to you graduates for the degree of Master of Educational Studies, Kevin Graham Askey, Josephine Bernadette Bailey, Penelope Barrett, Catherine Ann Barry, Nanette Georgina Berger, Anthony Neil Crawford, Elaine Ann Ferris, Helen Margaret MacDonald, Anne Carolyn McCormick, Kay Lynette Nabour, Gillian Patricia Nielsen, Joan Louise Plant, John Ronald Plant, Michael John Charles Reville, Mardi Louise Ryan, Ross Thomas Whipler, Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of coursework graduates and diplomats of the Faculty of Education.
I now call upon the Dean, Faculty of Engineering, to present graduates and diplomats of the faculty.
Chancellor. I present to you graduates of the degree of Bachelor of Computer Science. Keith Andrew Maney. Adrian Ugreg. Chancellor, I present to you graduates of the degree of Bachelor of Engineering in Mechanical Engineering, Damien Matthew Sharman. Deanne Marie Condrick. Chancellor, I present to you a graduate who has been awarded the Graduate Diploma in Computer Science, Kevin Patrick Deegan. Chancellor, I present to you a graduate of the degree of Master of Engineering Science in Industrial Systems, Stefan Noel Arena. Chancellor, I present to you Ian Raymond Bryant, Bachelor of Engineering of the University of Queensland. Mr. Bryant's thesis for the degree of Master of Engineering is entitled Serviceability of Masonry Walls Subjected to Foundation Movements. Chancellor, I present to you Bhujanga Bhusan Chakrabarti, Bachelor of Electrical Engineering of Jadavpur University and Master of Science of the University of North Illinois. Mr. Chakrabarti's thesis for the degree of Master of Engineering is entitled Static Voltage Collapse Proximity Indicators. Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of the coursework graduates, diplomates and research master's degrees of the Faculty of Engineering.
I now call upon the Dean, Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences to present graduates and diplomates of the faculty.
Chancellor, I present to you graduates of the degree of Bachelor of Health Science, Occupational Therapy, Trudy Elizabeth Arnold. Ingrid Elizabeth Banks. Vanessa Shane Bell. Emma Moss Burns. Karen Louise Cohen. Jennifer Freeman. Sharon Louise Frith. Sarah Belinda Gattenby. Shana Gillian Goldstone. Kelly Marie Hancock. Anne Dorothy Lee. Rex Arthur Maddock. Amanda Elizabeth Morris. Joanne Mary O'Reilly. Catherine Jane Parish. Sonia Royo. Emma Jane Thomas. Michelle K. Tully. Andrew James Wakely. Tamara Lee Wallace. Angela Valmai Witten. Chancellor, I present to you John Edwin Stewart, Bachelor of Medicine, Bachelor of Surgery of the University of Western Australia, Diploma in Child Health of the University of London, and Diploma in Epidemiology of this university. Dr. Stewart's thesis for the degree of Master of Medical Science, Clinical Epidemiology is entitled A Randomized Controlled Trial of Nasal Beclomethasone Spray in Ear Disease in Aboriginal Children. Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of coursework graduates, diplomates, and research master's graduates of the Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences.
I now call on the Acting Dean, Faculty of Nursing, to present graduates and diplomates of the faculty.
Chancellor, I present to you candidates who have been awarded the Diploma of Health Science Nursing. Janine Patricia Cole. Pearl Carolyn New. Chancellor, I present to you a graduate of the degree of the Bachelor of Nursing, Mi Suk Kim. Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of coursework graduates and diplomats of the Faculty of Nursing.
I now call upon the Dean, Faculty of Science and Mathematics, to present graduates of the faculty.
Chancellor, I present to you graduates of the degree of Bachelor of Mathematics, Judith Louise Alexander, Kerry Narelle Austin, Mink Johannes Dominicus Marius Brocker, Lloyd John Davies, Corinna Teresa Alida Duiverman, Kenneth Unkan Ha, Jason Scott Kimberley, Hrista Kondov, Penelope Denise Manser, Neil Timothy Stilgo, Chancellor, I present to you graduates of the degree of Bachelor of Science, Lorna Tracy Adlam, Peter James Batista, Matthew William Bulbert, Lee Kavanagh, Justine Bernadette Daly, Rachel Daba, Catherine Marie Delahunty, Craig Graham Dupont, Simon Michael Francis, Elizabeth Ann Howe, Michael David Huxley, Susan Jane Ide, Patricia Ann Killen, Reddy Kuama, Kiarissa Marie Lawson, Matthew Paul Lawther, Jeffrey Owen Manners, David Matthew Milford, Joanne Mowat, Angela Marie Mulhern, Mark Jesse Osland, Bronwyn Margaret Proctor, Chancellor, I present to you graduates of the degree of Bachelor of Science Honours, Class 2 Division 1 in Physics, Geoffrey Ronald Harmer. In Geology, Norman Andrew McLaughlin. Class 1 in Chemistry, Paul Simon Amala. Chancellor, that concludes the presentation of coursework graduates of the Faculty of Science and Mathematics.
I now call on the Pro-Vice-Chancellor, Research and Information Technology to present graduates of the degree of Doctor of Philosophy.
Chancellor. Chancellor, the degree of Doctor of Philosophy is awarded to a graduate who has successfully completed a prescribed program of study, principally of research, spanning a period of 3 to 4 years of full-time study. A thesis embodying the outcomes of the research is the principal item presented for assessment. The degree is only awarded if the thesis makes a significant and original contribution to understanding in the field of knowledge with which it is concerned. Today, the University is proud to honour its Doctor of Philosophy graduates who have satisfied these rigorous criteria for the award of the degree. Chancellor, I present to you John Christie, Bachelor of Arts at this university. Dr. Christie prepared his thesis for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in the Department of English in the Faculty of Arts and Social Science. His thesis is entitled Oscar Wilde and Harold Bloom, Revising the Ratios. Dr. Christie's thesis analyses Oscar Wilde's attempts to distinguish himself from his predecessors by quoting or implicating their works in context that reveal Wilde's differences from them. Wilde's revisionary strategies are examined via a specific adaptation of Harold Bloom's 6 revisionary ratios. This approach evaluates Wilde's relation to other literary figures, and the thesis also examines Bloom's relations to his own progenitors. Wilde is finally considered as an author who implicitly forwards the nuance maker as a supreme artist, a stance that promotes his artistic status by drawing attention to his particular powers. Chancellor, I present to you Irene Lieselette Herzer, Bachelor of Arts at this university. Dr. Herzer prepared her thesis for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in the Department of Modern Languages, Faculty of Arts and Social Science. Her thesis is entitled Contemporary Austrian Literature, Feminist Stereotyping and Literary Self-Expression. Dr. Herzer's thesis is devoted to an extensive examination of the images of women in contemporary Austrian women's literature, with particular reference to the novels of Elfriede Jelinek, Barbara Frischmuth, and Brigitte Schwieger. The study highlights the concerns of 3 authors with the realities of women's exploitation, oppression, and inequality in the public and private sphere, and the artistic use of gender stereotyping as an effective literary device which will help the reader to gain insight into the many obstacles that hinder women from achieving self-realisation and justice, and to challenge the status quo. Chancellor, I present to you Dennis Henry Mahoney, who is Bachelor of Arts and Diploma in Education from the University of Sydney and Master in Education from the University of New South Wales. Dr. Mahoney prepared his thesis in the Department of Education, Faculty of Education. His thesis is entitled An Ethnographic Field Study of Positions Held by Landowners of the Wollombi Valley and Implications for Environmental Education. This project explored the manner in which a person comes to understand and relate to the natural world, in the belief that effective environmental education should rest on this foundation. A qualitative field study of an adult rural population identified 4 culturally meaningful systems, termed positions, namely those of the man on the land, earth people, other gender folk, and unaligned individuals. Each had experiential and value-laden ways of knowing which was seen as having particular relevance to non-formal education in the form of the current participatory approach to water quality and land management problems. They also have important inferences for the teaching of land care values in schools. Chancellor, I present to you Darko Musica, Master of Science of the University of Belgrade. Dr. Musica prepared his thesis for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering of the Faculty of Engineering. His thesis is entitled Automatic Tracking of Manoeuvring Targets in Clutter Using IPDA. Dr. Musica's thesis is concerned with a particular technical problem in target tracking of the sonar or radar type systems. The problem is that of obtaining, without excessive computing requirements, a near optimal scheme for extracting the true path of an object from measurements where noise and spurious signals known as clutter confuse the test. A new high-performance algorithm called Integrated Probability Data Association is derived and analysed. Computer simulation studies show this new algorithm to have far simpler computational requirements, yet comparable performance to existing algorithms. Chancellor, I present to you Peng Shi, Bachelor of Science of the Harbin Institute of Technology and Master of Engineering of the Harbin University of Engineering. Dr. Peng prepared his thesis for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in the Department of Electrical and Computer Engineering of the Faculty of Engineering. His thesis is entitled Issues in Robust Filtering and Control of Sample Data Systems. Dr. Peng's thesis reports work on a number of topics which arise in dynamical systems under sampled measurements with or without modelling errors. He developed methodologies for designing robust digital control systems and robust digital filters that directly incorporate continuous time behaviour. A performance measure of advanced type was used. This thesis treated processes where the parameters are not well known and large uncertainty exists, and proposed filtering and control techniques that guarantee a prescribed performance irrespective of the uncertainty. Chancellor, I present to you Li Xiong Yang, Master of Engineering of the Beijing University of Iron and Steel Technology. Dr. Li Xiong prepared her thesis for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in the Department of Mechanical Engineering in the Faculty of Engineering. Her thesis is entitled Redox Equilibria and Relative Rates of Reaction of Water and CO2 with Bath Smelter Slags. Dr. Li Xiong's thesis is concerned with chemical equilibria and kinetic studies of slags. The slags consisted of calcia, silica, alumina, and magnesia, above which are flowing gas mixtures of steam and carbon dioxide. These slags and conditions were chosen to cover the range of composition and conditions appropriate to new technology iron bath smelting processes. She has determined the oxygen activity by way of a ratio of trivalent and divalent iron. This has permitted the study of rate constants involving the dissociation of steam and of carbon dioxide over the slags. Chancellor, I present to you Leslie Barnsley, Bachelor of Medicine and Graduate Diploma in Epidemiology in the discipline of Clinical Epidemiology of this university. Dr. Barnsley prepared his thesis for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in the Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences. His thesis is entitled Cervical Physical Joint Pain After Whiplash. I apologise. Dr. Barnsley developed and validated a new diagnostic technique for neck pain after whiplash. This technique involves anaesthetising putatively painful joints in the neck with tiny amounts of local anaesthetic. Application of the technique revealed that more than 54% of patients suffer pain from small joints in the neck, a diagnosis that had never before been considered in these patients, who otherwise could have been accused of malingering or diagnosed as suffering psychogenic pain. This breakthrough enables treatments to be developed where none have before been available for a condition suffered by 4,000 new patients each year in New South Wales alone. Chancellor, I present to you Francis Patrick Hughes, Bachelor of Arts and Master of Science of this university. Dr. Hughes prepared his thesis for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in the Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences. His thesis is entitled Pain in the Dependent Elderly. Dr. Hughes' thesis was concerned with problems associated with identifying and assessing pain in old people who, because of failing health, depend for their care on other people. A study of community beliefs showed that most people believe that pain in old people is inevitable. Another study showed that pain is likely to be a significant problem in people with dementia, but that it is difficult to identify all those dementing folk who have pain. Dr. Hughes showed that pain affects 2 out of 3 dependent older people. In these people, pain may be an indicator of deteriorating health, and while some people are preoccupied with their pain, many minimise its significance, accepting it with equanimity and seeing it as just another problem to be solved. Chancellor, I present to you Anne Marie Roche, Bachelor of Arts at the University of New South Wales and Master of Educational Studies of this university. Dr. Roche prepared her thesis for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in the Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences. Her thesis is entitled Drug and Alcohol Medical Education, Skills Training for Early and Brief Intervention. Alcohol and other drug use are increasingly recognised as major contributing factors in the morbidity and mortality of most countries, and growing concern has been expressed regarding the prevalence and management of such problems. Dr. Roche's thesis focused on the potential for prevention and improved clinical management of such problems. She specifically addressed the question of the role of education and training of medical practitioners. In her dissertation, she examined the current status of drug and alcohol training of medical students, interns, and young graduates, and carried out a number of investigations designed to determine effective and appropriate ways to teach intervention skills to medical students. Chancellor, I present to you Xin Wang, Bachelor of Medicine of Jiamusu Medical College. Dr. Wang prepared his thesis for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in the Faculty of Medicine and Health Sciences. His thesis is entitled Effects of Hypothyroidism on the Maturation of Brain and Muscle, Changes in Protein Phosphorylation Systems. Dr. Wang has developed an animal model for late onset mild hypothyroidism and used it to study the development of brain and muscle, focusing on the control of regulatory enzymes, which are called protein kinesises, and their molecular targets. Dr. Wang has identified a set of phosphoproteins which can indicate the functional state of different types of muscles. In brain, he has shown that one protein kinase, which is thought to be important in learning and memory, changes its intracellular location in hypothyroid animals. This may have implications for the subtle impairment of mental abilities suffered by millions of people who live in iodine-deficient areas and suffer mild hypothyroidism. Chancellor, I present to you Feng Wang, Bachelor of Science of Chengdu University of Science and Technology and Master of Science of the University of Sichuan. Dr. Wang prepared her thesis for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in the Department of Chemistry in the Faculty of Science and Mathematics. Her thesis is entitled Ab initio Calculations of Rho Vibrational States of Alkali Metal Ions. Dr. Wang's thesis centres on characterising the spectroscopy of alkali metal ions. These are ions which will be useful in the development of infrared lasers, thermoelectric solar energy converters, and UV lamps. For the linear ions, Dr. Wang developed a new formulation of a vibrational total energy function in order to calculate the vibrational spectra of such ions. For triangular ions, Dr. Wang extended an existing theory to incorporate rotational motion and so enabled the calculation of Rho vibrational spectra. For both cases, Dr. Wang provided the basis for spectroscopic detection of a number of alkali metal ions. Chancellor, I present to you Karen Ann Drysdale, Bachelor of Arts of this university. Dr. Drysdale prepared her thesis for the degree of Doctor of Philosophy in the Department of Psychology of the Faculty of Science and Mathematics. Her thesis is entitled Behavioural and Electrophysiological Investigations of Selective Attention. Dr. Drysdale's thesis is concerned with the psychological theory of visual attention and in particular issues of early and late selection. The issue is important because it underlies all information processing in the normal brain and is implicated in many models of brain dysfunction. In early selection models, attention is thought to occur before some brain process has identified a visual event and on the other side, late selection to occur after the identification process has occurred. The experiments within the thesis use methods comprising both subject report and a physiological measure, the recording of visual evoked potentials. In combination, these methods allow Dr. Drysdale to question existing models that propose either early or late selection and to argue for a new perspective on the selection process in information processing. Chancellor, that completes the presentation of Doctor of Philosophy graduates.
We will now have a short musical interlude. I now call on the Vice-Chancellor to present recipients of the University's 1994 Awards for Excellence in Teaching and the recipient of the prize for the winning entry in the competition to compose the University of Newcastle fanfares.
Chancellor, the University's Awards for Excellence in Teaching scheme was established in 1993 to give prominence to the importance of high-quality teaching in the university and to reward and encourage excellence. For 1994, the Teaching Committee has selected 2 submissions which propose innovative teaching approaches or methodologies designed to stimulate students' curiosity and understanding of the subject matter. Chancellor, it gives me great pleasure to present to you Dr. Himanshu Banerjee from the Department of Architecture as a recipient for an award for excellence in teaching. Dr. Banerjee's innovative approaches in developing self-paced instruction and problem-based learning in the teaching of structural systems have been a significant contribution to enhancing student learning in an important discipline. He presents his subject material, which is intrinsically difficult, in a lively and imaginative way, has a practical dedication to the merit of his subject material, and gives meticulous attention to detail and organisation. Dr. Banerjee has extended his own development as a teacher by adopting student evaluation of his teaching as a means of informing and improving his own capabilities. Chancellor, it gives me great pleasure to present to you Mr. Philip Williams from the discipline of Behavioural Science in relation to medicine as a recipient for an award for excellence in teaching. Mr. Williams' teaching award is based on the premise that enhanced relationships between student and teacher maximise learning opportunities. Consequently, his teaching is based on establishing a harmonious environment built upon trust and open communication. In his university teaching, Mr. Williams has incorporated different teaching styles to maximise his teaching effectiveness. These include traditional didactic lecturing, facilitator, counsellor, devil's advocate, and authoritarian. He uses humour and anecdote to reduce perceived barriers in his classroom. Mr. Williams' teaching is notable for the way it relates content to current research activity. He actively encourages students to learn and apply research method in many different settings in their pursuit of knowledge. Chancellor, the university fanfares we heard earlier this morning to herald the arrival of the council and members of the university are a result of a competition held earlier this year. Students and staff of the university's Faculty of Music were invited to submit entries for a competition to compose the university's fanfares. The composition had to be capable of being performed both on organ and on brass. It gives me great pleasure to present to you the composer of the winning entry, Associate Professor Robert Constable. Chancellor, that concludes the presentations.
I now have pleasure in calling upon Professor Roy Webb, Vice-Chancellor, Griffith University in Queensland, to deliver the occasional address. Professor.
Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, Professor Rao Mortley, graduates, distinguished guests, ladies and gentlemen. It is both an honour and a pleasure for me to address you on this very important day in your lives. And I thank your Vice-Chancellor, my friend and former colleague in Queensland, most sincerely for his invitation, and my esteemed former colleague, now your Secretary and Registrar, for conveying it to me. Those of you who are getting to know Jem Chong will realise that she conveyed it to me in no uncertain terms. Chancellor, it is a great honour for me also to find myself the guest speaker at your first ceremony as the new Chancellor of the University of Newcastle. And may I convey congratulations and greetings from my Chancellor, the Chief Justice of Queensland, the Honourable John McCrossan, and also, of course, colleagues from the entire university. We wish you well in your chancellorship of this distinguished and distinctive university. Well, this morning's ceremony for the conferring of awards marks the completion of one phase of your life, and of course I am addressing the graduates. You have come to the end of a long and no doubt at times difficult course of study, and you must now be savouring a well-deserved sense of achievement, perhaps one also of deep relief. Yet this ceremony marks more than an ending, it signifies also a beginning. In the United States, the ceremony of degree conferral is called commencement, perhaps more accurately reflecting the nature of the event. It is an appropriate moment in which to reflect on past experiences, but equally it is a time in which to anticipate the future as you give thought to your life ahead. Commencement will mean something different to each one of you. You came to the university from varied backgrounds, and the paths that you take in the future may well be even more varied. As you embark upon a new stage in life, some of you may go on to further study. Many of you will enter the workforce for the first time, and some of you may be returning to it, although you will find both it and yourselves changed. Change is, ironically, one of the few constants which you can expect to find as you take your path through life. And it is said to be occurring at a pace more rapid than at any time in the past. Whether or not this is true, the challenge of the future is to deal effectively with the opportunities as well as the difficulties created by change and uncertainty. Your university education has prepared you to meet this challenge, not only by imparting the knowledge and skills of the particular profession you will enter, but also by fostering skills in research, critical analysis, communication, and creative problem solving. These skills, together with an open and inquiring mind, are called for in the contemporary world, in both the national and increasingly the international context. In this respect, I wish to take up two themes this morning. First, to address the relationship between the academic and the practical world, and second, to consider the internationalisation of the world and the role which universities and their graduates are able to play in that process. Many of you are about to leave academic life and turn to a world where practical concerns predominate. Yet I encourage you not to see the university as a remote and abstract world of intellectual activity, of little relevance to the real world of business and other enterprise, and the dust of which you can now shake from your feet. It is true that from time to time charges of irrelevance have been laid against universities, and that universities have been denigrated as ivory towers, unconcerned with the events and problems of the so-called real world. In response to such criticism, universities are rightly increasingly emphasising the vocational relevance of the courses they offer, and such relevance is indeed clearly seen in the wide range of professions represented here today. The potential danger, however, with this increasing emphasis on vocational relevance is that universities themselves risk being seen to diminish the importance of traditional academic pursuits. Universities, or more precisely and modestly, the things they stand for and do best, are without doubt essential in many ways to the progress of culture, technology, and the very fabric of our civilization. To explain better my point, I should like to draw on the thought of Kenneth Minogue, put forward in his excellent book, The Concept of a University, and in particular to consider the fundamental distinction he deals with between the academic world and the practical world. In the academic world, says Minogue, the only relevant criterion is that of truth or falsity. In the practical world, in which of course we must all live, academics included, the criterion may be summed up as effectiveness. The proposition that something works is not to be confused with the proposition that it is true. Procedures and technologies that are practical are not necessarily understood, and those that are understood are not necessarily useful. Moreover, our understanding of the truth is itself an unstable phenomenon. As Minogue puts it, an established theory, and I quote, sits astride an unstable mass of evidence which new young dons are likely to revise. And I intrude at this point the proposition we've had much evidence of that here today. Continuing the quotation, in the academic world, conclusions simmer together with the evidence, and there is no point at which they can ever be detached from it. In the practical world, on the other hand, conclusions often outlive the evidence for them. Decisions have to be taken and minds made up. End of quote. The academic and practical are not separate entities, nor do they stand in conflict. Rather, they are different perspectives and methodologies, and both have their place. The academic world is especially concerned with intellectual rigour and freedom, in conjunction with an inquiring mind and critical awareness. These are concerns not always found in the practical domain. There is no suggestion in Minogue's distinction that either the academic or the practical domain is better. Rather, they are different. And I would suggest together constitute what nowadays we tend to call the real world. As you know from your own course of study, it is not the case that a university has no practical content. Nor is it the case that the practical world is only useful for supplying the material necessities of life. As Minogue also points out, the practical world also includes, quote, man's preoccupation with the salvation of his soul and the survival of humanity, as well as the values of love and friendship, unquote. Incidentally, I should pause to note the apparent exclusion in this quotation of half of our species, the better half, of course, and we need to recall that Minogue wrote 2 decades ago. At the time, such remarks often passed without comment and should not be taken to imply deliberate exclusion. In the same way that our society could not exist without both halves, we have need of both the academic and the practical. As you leave the university, you are not leaving education behind. It is my purpose, in fact, to stress that you are not done once and for all with the academic world. First, future success may well call upon you to embrace a commitment to lifelong learning, open-mindedness, and a receptivity to new ideas. Increasingly, maintaining the currency of your employable skills will require a continuing contact with relevant training or education authorities, which themselves must remain aware of applicable best practice. Second, the academic mode of thinking and inquiring will always have a place in the discovery of new knowledge, whether new to the field or only new to you personally. I encourage you to carry into the practical world and throughout your lives the capacity that universities are fundamentally concerned with, that is, the ability to examine and weigh evidence on its merits, to debate issues based on considered argument, to avoid compromise for the sake of convenience, and to avoid closing debate with hasty and forced conclusions. It is true, I'm bound to say, that if you do this, you will encounter criticism, even fierce opposition, on some occasions when you wish to resolve issues on the basis of evidence, and others wish to use different grounds, convenience perhaps, or personal advantage, or the exercise of power. A commitment to the values of open inquiry, fairness and truth can be difficult to sustain. Yet I hope you'll approach this challenge with the same dedication and perseverance which you have applied to your formal academic studies. Furthermore, as communication and the dissemination of knowledge become more sophisticated, rapid and widespread, we are daily confronted by an increasingly vast amount of information. In the face of this information overload, as it's often called, we need a means by which to come to an appreciation of what is important and what is merely trivial. Without such an understanding, matters of true significance are in danger of disappearing in the sea of words and images that surround us. We should not be content to act as passive recipients of information, relying perhaps on media comment to signify what is of importance and what is not. Skills acquired through an academic training will be of use in dealing with this information overload. In particular, we need to apply a perspective of critical analysis and discrimination, being aware that not all information is equal, and information is not necessarily knowledge. And, of course, knowledge is not necessarily wisdom. The role of the university is clearly relevant in a domestic or national context. It is as much so in an international context, and this is the second point to which I now turn. World society is now far more interactive and independent than ever before, and I don't think that proposition can be disputed. And only those institutions which embrace an international and indeed a global perspective will prosper. There is no longer a place for exclusion, isolation, and parochialism. Improved communication and transport systems, combined with the recognition of the interdependent interests of countries, have pointed to the need for people who can operate effectively across national boundaries. There is a need for graduates to cope with differing economic, legal, language, political and cultural circumstances. The interdependence of nations is apparent, for example, in international trade, in moves towards the development of international law, the cooperative management of the environment, and attempts to confront the issue of population growth. On the negative side, the damage caused by environmental mismanagement respects no international boundaries, and international crime and terrorism are present in Australia, largely free in the past from political violence. There is growing recognition that these issues affect us all, with borders offering neither shelter nor protection. The universities have an obligation to respond to the internationalisation of the world, and indeed have a vital role to play in the sustainable development of human society and in the fulfilment of humanitarian values. Australia's economic future is likely to be increasingly dependent on dealings with countries in the surrounding region, and partly, although not exclusively because of this, Australian universities are seeking closer ties in the Asia-Pacific region. My own university, Griffith University, is especially committed to this vision, and I know the same to be true of the University of Newcastle. For similar reasons, higher education institutions in many of our neighbouring countries have themselves decided to seek links with Australia and other Asian and Pacific neighbours. One outcome of this has been the establishment of what we call UMAP, the Project for University Mobility in Asia and the Pacific. The general objective of this project is to achieve, by extended and enhanced cooperation between institutions of higher education, a better understanding within the countries and territories of the Asia-Pacific region of the cultural, economic and social systems of the area. Participating universities aim to increase the mobility of students and staff through exchange programs and to improve the quality of higher education in the region. Such aspirations are certainly not unique to our region. In countries around the world, there is a growing recognition of the importance of education and training. Greater access to higher education and better knowledge of educational developments in other parts of the world are seen as vital to the development of a society able to compete successfully in difficult international markets and in an interdependent world. As the world community becomes increasingly interdependent, we need to recognise that different issues are best dealt with at different levels. Many are and will remain best suited for treatment at the local level, others for a state or national level, yet others for resolution at a bilateral or international level. Many universities, for example, have bilateral agreements with institutions in other countries, and these certainly contribute towards a better understanding of cultural, economic and political differences. UMAP goes beyond bilateral arrangements to a multilateral level, albeit within a regional context. Multilateral arrangements are necessary to deal with problems which transcend bilateral concerns. Given the extent and magnitude of some of these problems, such as that of ecological sustainability, our future survival will depend upon transcending national borders and separateness, upon adding a layer of global cooperation to that which we achieve at the national or even the bilateral international level. While it is important to continue to build bilateral relationships, the world's needs can only partially be realised by such activities. Activities between one nation and another, or one institution and another, take us only part of the way. For the future of our world society, globalisation is the more fundamental process. Globalisation is distinct from internationalisation, although of course encompassing it. Our world is already international in the sense that international means internation, with its focus on linking separate nations or on the relations between those nations. To the extent, however, that the global society is already emerging, it consists only in part of those aspects and activities that take place between separate nations. International trade, for example, is vital to the development of globalisation, but should not be taken as an end point in the process. Global cultures, global values, global security, and ultimately, I believe, some measure or form of global government are objectives to which internationalisation can contribute. But we must go beyond traditional forms of international activity to give content to global forms of cooperation. It is important to note that this does not imply that a global society would be a colourless, homogeneous society, or one in which the only level of organisation is the global. On the contrary, the survival of the world's diversity of peoples and of cultures and of polities requires the realisation of a capacity to think and act globally on certain key issues. Individuals as well as institutions have a role to play in the formation of this global community. All of you, today's graduates, are well placed to contribute towards this process in both your work and your private lives. You may be called upon to create and sustain links with other countries, or perhaps to hold a global perspective of which ecologically sustainable development is an example, or show a recognition of the interdependence of nations and peoples and an understanding of cultural, political and economic differences amongst our neighbours, whether they be close or further afield. We in universities and you who go out into the practical world as proud bearers of your degrees have a profound responsibility to society and to civilisation, whether national, international or global. Your university education has laid the foundation for a lifetime of learning enriched by an understanding of human values, whether you pursue formal or informal learning paths. I encourage you to see today's graduation as a step to the next phase in your lifelong quest for greater skills and greater understanding. I offer you my congratulations for your achievements and I wish you every success in the years to come. Thank you.
Professor Webb, thank you very much for that stimulating address. It is a bright and exciting world, isn't it, with on the one hand, increased levels of cooperation with all the nations of the world, speed of communications, much more to learn, competition. In fact, it's so exciting that I would like, I think, today to be graduating myself. Although I think there's enough excitement left for people of even an advanced age to enjoy their remaining years. Thank you very much for that address. I now have great pleasure in inviting Mr. Paul Hamala to speak on behalf of the graduates.
Chancellor, Vice-Chancellor, distinguished guests, fellow graduates, and friends. Let me first say how honoured I feel to come before you as a representative of the graduate body. Last time I was upon this stage, I was a little nervous, and when, on receiving my testimony, Chancellor Evatt congratulated me and wished me success in the future, at the time all I could think of saying was, "Nice to meet you." But it did start me thinking on what constitutes success. To paraphrase something I once read, they have achieved success who have lived well, laughed often, and loved much, who have gained the respect of intelligent men and women and the love of little children, who have changed the world for the better and accomplished their chosen task, and looked for the best in others and still gave the best they had. Yet success is often the reward for perseverance, and those graduating here today are receiving their just reward for years of dedication. In lectures, tutorials and lab classes, we have been encouraged to question rather than assume, to think critically and creatively, to challenge convention and broaden our minds in order to understand both theoretical principles as well as practice and act rationally. Now, after 4.5 years of study at the University of Newcastle, I've amassed a fairly extensive knowledge in chemistry and am proud to reflect on the person I have become. But then I think I've learnt just about as much about life in general, for education offers more than just academic development. It goes beyond the lecture theatres and labs and libraries where most of our time was spent. Well, some of our time. Would you believe an hour or two? Okay, so I was lost in the library at that time. The university introduced us to the O-Ball, the engineering frat and fluids 1, Autonomy Day, where there was standing room only as we spectated the billy cart races from atop the old Commonwealth Bank building and watched the Iron Man in disbelief of the horrific feats human bodies had to endure. It introduced us to Thursday nights at the bar on the hill, Fluids 2, the beach party, and Fluids 3, all of everything you could ever drink. It also introduced us to the campus scamper and lunchtime social sporting competitions, all of which moulded us into well-developed individuals. As you can see, university offered us the chance to meet others from a diverse range of backgrounds and cultures, bringing us together with a common goal, to seek knowledge, and yet enjoy some lighter moments as well. I have a treasure chest full of memories. I recall leaving home, still on my P's, thinking I was ready for the big wide world just outside my door, and free to do as I chose. Boy, was I in for a rude shock. Though Mum might be devastated to know it, my diet initially consisted of they make me giggle, when they wiggle, veggie 2-minute noodles, baked beans on toast, and good old chips and gravy from the Union cafeteria. I remember the village, the temporary student accommodation that some of my friends stayed at when we first arrived here, and the landlady from hell while living at Mayfield. I remember looking for GGA 5, the lecture theatre where I was to spend so much of my university career, asking others, "Where's GGA 5? I felt like the guy in the Yellow Pages commercial, you know, Go-Go-Mobile, G-O-G-G-O. But I quickly realised that the friends I made here were somewhat of an extended family. You relied upon them and they relied upon you. They pulled you through the rough times when you thought all was lost and otherwise would not have made it, and they shared your good times. They gave you whatever they could, often more than they could afford, whether it was money or time, patience or knowledge, a shoulder to cry on, but most of all they showed us love and care, and without such friends I for one would not be here. It is surprisingly simple to enjoy credit for our achievements, such as our medical and technological breakthroughs, our sense of national pride when our sportsmen and women beat the world, but society is still far from perfect. Poverty and threats of war headline the newspapers, economic recession and disasters such as at the Maura mine. Bushfires, droughts and earthquakes are all about us. And when confronted by these problems, some turn away because they feel unable to help. But university has given us the courage to confront these issues by teaching us understanding of the problems themselves and giving us the ability to debate them rationally as concerned individuals. In the face of every graduate here today, I see all these things, not only the friends I have made, the perseverance and the memories, but I see the solutions to problems not yet encountered. I see a future, a hope, a character, and optimism, I see commitment which will not falter under load provided we can share it. I see that it is with these people here that the future rests, unlimited in potential, and I tell you all this as I stand before you so that you may see it too. This is the face of humanity. And we have you to thank. You, our colleagues, our families, our friends and our mentors. So that is why I am proud to speak on behalf of the graduate body of 1994. And it is with all my sincerity that I thank you all in this auditorium today, for it is you who helped to get us here. Thank you.
Thank you, Mr. Amala, for that wide-ranging speech. I now declare this ceremony concluded. May I at the same time invite all present to join us for refreshments, which will be served in the University Union.